Hi, and welcome to a new episode. I'm Sara Tortegeter, one of the co-founders of GlobeDesk. With me today, I have Vivian Aggestam, who is also a co-founder here at GlobeDesk. Welcome.
Yay! Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Usually, you and I do this podcast with guests, but today we wanted to talk about a rising problem within recruitment and hiring.
Yes, and unfortunately, we, like many other companies, are seeing an increased amount of fraud from candidates applying for remote jobs, which is a really big problem, but also a problem for honest candidates that are applying for open positions. And I think this is a much more common problem than people think. It really just happened to us. So
Yes, it did. So we had a candidate who made it through the interview process. Everything looked good until some inconsistencies showed up after hiring. We discovered that the person doing the work wasn't the same person as we had interviewed. And that was a really tough moment.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to emphasize here, over the years, we've had GlobeDesk, we've spoken to thousands of candidates, and we really met one now who was dishonest and made it through. And of course, the vast majority of candidates are honest people and looking to land a new remote job, right? But I think the experience for us has changed how we assess candidates, and we realized even with experience in vetting, fraud can slip through. So we wanted to share our experience and mostly tell you what we learned from the whole experience, so you can avoid this.
Yes. Let's talk about some red flags when it comes to candidates.
Yeah. So one for sure, I would say, is when they don't want to turn on their camera. They have a really good excuse, but I find this to be a really bad sign.
Yep. Like for us, when this happened, we say like, okay, thanks for showing up to the call. We don't do interviews without camera, so let's reschedule. Or if it really feels off, because it can feel off, like even in the very first meeting, then it's better to say just like, thanks for your interest in this process. Now, this is a time-sensitive process for us, and we only proceed with candidates that connect with video on the first call, and then we just drop them.
Yeah, exactly. What could be another red flag?
I would say if what they are saying doesn't match their resume. When the verbal communication has some differences, then you should be careful.
Yeah. And speaking of that, actually, usually there's quite a lot of communication between you and the candidate, both in writing and in the video calls before signing the actual contract. So if you see any differences there, for example, a high level of English in the calls, but then a lower English in the written communication, that can also be a red flag.
Yeah, for sure. And also, usually in the process, you are requesting some things from the candidate. It could be documents like diplomas from the university, or it could be references. And if the candidate is delaying that process, that is also not a good sign.
So, what can be done? Or actually, what process can companies and recruitment agencies implement to avoid these kinds of situations?
For tech roles, I would say a deeper technical video interview. You can also have screen sharing during a technical test to prevent the candidate from outsourcing these parts of the process.
Yeah, true. You can also use tools for ID verification, like ID checks. You can also do background checks with police, which is actually an approach that we have used quite frequently.
Yeah. And I know candidates don't appreciate a long hiring process. You always see those posts on LinkedIn with several interviews and so on. But unfortunately, a good way to detect fraud can be several interviews with different team members. So you can detect inconsistencies from the candidate.
Yeah, for sure. And I think now a rising problem, still not huge, is deepfake, and that the person you're actually seeing in the call is not the one talking. And there are some AI detection tools now that you can use. We're still in the review phase, so we don't have any tools yet to recommend. Maybe the audience has one eventually
Yeah,
that they can give,
yeah.
right?
If you have, please comment. And
Mm,
I was thinking also about the traditional reference checking to dig a little bit deeper. Contact people who have worked at the same company as the candidate in the past, not just the persons that the candidate refers to.
exactly. Sometimes maybe even calling if you only are using writing references. I think there are different approaches there to make sure that you can try to see if to validate that individual.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end, let's really emphasize here. I think people should not be afraid of hiring remotely. I think there are so many benefits with diverse teams and pools of talents that you can access to. I think with AI, we're just experiencing new dilemmas that needs to be addressed and communicated, so we can all make sure to have a nice and safe hiring process.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the best way is to tune your hiring process instead and continue to meet interesting candidates that are genuine in their search for a new position. And
Mm.
as you said in the beginning of this conversation, we have had GlobeDesk for over 7 years. We have met with thousands of candidates, and the vast majority, they are very honest. They are really looking for the new position. And yeah, so keep hiring
Mm.
remote, I
Keep
would say.
hiring remotely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So if you as a listener found this interesting, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more conversations. And until next time, bye bye.
Bye.